were doing our pre-opening when they had the bombing in Oklahoma City. The building shook. I'm like, man, I thought a semi hit the building. Looked outside, nothing. Went up on the roof, thought an air conditioner or something had popped. Looked out, and I could see a couple miles away the smoke coming up in the Murrow building. Blew up. But the explosion was so bad it shook the building. Any of you culinary? Any of y'all going to the culinary side? Chefs? Totally different lifestyle for chefs. But with Macaroni Grill, I was the very first person that was an executive chef, fun title for a kitchen manager, that didn't go to culinary school. Because when I started this company, we only had a handful of stores. And as we grew, chefs don't like to follow recipes. Chefs like to do their own thing. Little pinch here, little pinch there, I like this, do this. Well, when you're following a company and you're growing a company, you can't do that. You have to have standards and recipes and recipe adherence. So they moved into more people like me that could follow a recipe and could manage a kitchen. God, I've been there. I was the GM at the Hard Rock here in town. I was in the casino business. I opened up the Grand Casino. I worked at the Grand. I worked at Sheridan when it was Caesars. So as we go in a little bit, if you have questions, I can tell you from a casino side, which casinos I oversaw the housekeeping of the hotel for a little bit. So I've done restaurants, I've done bars, I've done nightclubs, I've done room service for the hotels. I've done the little restaurants and snack bars in the hotel. I've had Italian restaurants, American restaurants, Mexican restaurants. I had a Cinnabon in the casino. Boy, that was good stuff. That was good stuff. From fine dining to snack bars I've got to do a lot of different stuff, which all kind of led me to the job that I get to have now. It just takes in because I've done a whole lot of bouncing around, doing a lot of different things.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What was your favorite?
I don't have one. As a job, everything that I've done in this business I've enjoyed. I've been lucky. Now I will tell you what's interesting is I can tell you that out of 34 years, it's not about the job, it's about the team that I worked with. I had about a 3-year stretch out of those 9s in the casino that was outstanding. It was at a little bit at the Sheridan and mostly at the Grand. My vice president was awesome. My other director of operations and I, we're still friends. We had interns that we brought in, and it was just everybody liked each other. The team got along really, really well, and we had a good time. I went through a stretch. Anybody been to Kooky Canuck? Okay, I was the director of operations at Kooky Canuck for 13 years. Well, that was what I was doing before I came here. And even there was a stretch there where we had just an awesome, awesome team. The owner there is fantastic. So when your boss is great and everybody you work with is great, I had people that worked with me for 6, 7, 8, 9 years at Kooky. When you have a team like that and you just like the people you work with, that's what makes the job great. That answers. It was fun. We all had a good time. I strive to be a better leader than a better manager. Like I said, managers do things right. Leaders do the right things. That makes sense? I mean, we have policies, we have procedures, but leadership is about people. It's not about rules and policies. So much of what we do in this business is black and white. When you're talking about being in your kitchen, it's clean or it's not. You're following the health department or you're not. But when you start dealing with people, it's a totally different challenge. And most of what you do, you work in the gray. So, 2 employees walk in. Both of them are 15 minutes late. And you're going to deal with this because you're managers, right? 2 employees walk in 15 minutes late. I fire one and not the other. Is that fair?
It depends. Is the one that consistently late?
Okay, good part of that. Anybody else agree, disagree? Okay. That's not the answer you're going to get the majority of the time. So I commend you for that answer, because that is not what you get most of the time. You deal with employees and you deal with perception, and perception is reality. So all they see is you fired one and not the other. Go, well, that's not fair. Well, first of all, what's fair? Fair is your perception. Fair is you think that somebody got something else that you didn't. So it's always fair if you're on the winning side. But the answer is absolutely correct. One employee comes in, we've given them chance after chance after chance and written them up and counseled them and over. And finally you have to say, enough's enough. The second employee that you didn't fire, mother's in the hospital, wanted to go to visiting hours, but knew she would be about 15 minutes late. But instead of calling out and not even come to work because she wanted to see her mother, she said, hey, let me go visit my mom and I'll come to work late. Two totally different circumstances, right? But we manage in the gray. And again, allowing somebody to be late, that's, you have to work with people. You have to work with people to be successful, especially in today's world. There used to be a time that if you go, you don't follow the rules, I don't need you by, you're out, and guess what? I got somebody else. I went at one stretch when I was in Kookie a number of years ago, I went almost 18 months and didn't hire a single person in the kitchen. And the only way you got even hired is if you were a friend of somebody who already worked for me. You didn't even get in the door. We had no turnover. Retention was phenomenal. That ain't the way the world is today. And when you get in, and it's not changing. The unemployment's so low, it's just a different feel. Staffing's tough. You don't have to lower your standards, but you do got to be a little bit more flexible. And you have to work with people. And that's your leadership point. People don't quit jobs. People quit managers. Most people in our business don't quit because, well, I'm not making enough money. That's not the case. Most of them quit because the job's too hard. It's not what they expected. Or they don't like you. They don't like the way the restaurant runs. They don't like the way the hotel operates. Well, guess what? Whose fault is that? That's yours. People will perform to the level of expectation that you hold them to. Okay? People are good. People are not lazy, and people are not dumb, and people will perform to the level of expectation that you hold them to. So, people want to work in a place where there's structure. People want to work in a place where there are rules, and they know, because they know that if I'm going to have to do my side work, you're going to have to do your side work. There's nothing fair or unfair. There's nothing wrong about that. It's not like, well, Terry never has to do his side work, and I always got to pick up his slack for him because the manager likes it. Fair is perception, right? So in the gray, you've got, should I treat a brand new employee the same way I treat a 5-year employee? Why?
Well, the brand new one is still learning, and the other one should learn.
Got it? But there are two different scenarios to this. Okay? A new employee screws something up. I go, no big deal. Let's fix it. Move on. Not a big problem. A 5-year employee screws up. I go, stop that shit. You know better. I'm hard on you. I'm soft on you. Why? Two totally different situations, right? But a new employee calls out 5 minutes before she's supposed to be there. An old employee calls out 5 minutes before he's supposed to be here. Two different conversations. I know it's an emergency. I know something really crazy if he calls out and misses work. I'm like, no problem. I got it. I know it sucks. I'll deal with it. New employee? No, we can't have this. This doesn't go. You do this again, you can't be here. It's basically a no call, no show. Situational leadership. Not everything's fair. It's never going to be fair. You have to be consistent. But no, you take care of the people that take care of you. Right? So that's where the leadership comes rolling through. The other important thing about leadership, and when you're a manager, and it's especially from the top, have y'all ever talked about culture? Culture? What's culture?
The general environment that you're working in, I guess.
Okay. Anybody else? So culture is that everybody in the organization is saying and doing the same thing. from the top down. Good, bad, indifferent. How many of you guys work? Fantastic. How many of you work or have worked with crappy places? Why were they crappy?
Horrible management, no structure at all.
So it was chaos. Okay. Anybody else?
Owner.
Go ahead.
They would start like telling us like all the employees multiple things, and it would just get crazy.
Okay. But again, management. Okay. Beck.
Same thing. My manager just sucks.
Most of y'all in the food business or in other business?
Still.
Way to go. So, again, that goes back to is the culture of the restaurant. Like you said, people. How many work in a place you really like? Okay. Why do you like it?
The management.
Where do you work at?
Bulgari, Hernando.
Okay. Coleman's just shut down in Hernando. They called us about looking at that location, but it's turned it into a Trustmark bank.
Yeah.
But you'll see a top center sooner or later. You ever go to AC Steakhouse?
No.
You know where I'm talking about? You been to
Yeah.
AC's? Yeah, so AC is owned by two people I used to work with at the Grand Casino. Still friends. Great concept. But you like it because of structure. You like it because of leadership. Again, people don't quit because of money. People quit because the manager and the system sucks. If the place is chaotic, if the place runs crazy, it's bad management. My wife gets so aggravated with me, and I can't help it. I've really tried to do better through the years. I used to really be bad. I can't go sit in a restaurant without critiquing it. Because I sit in a restaurant, and this is what I do. Light bulb